Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Okay, thank you. So I want to see whether you are there, right? Okay, so we'll start it with the where we have left last time, right? Then okay, so I'll give you a small homework. No, I don't know whether you have done it. No, doesn't matter, right? So the questions I gave you briefly discuss the salient features of performance-based salary revisions of a bank. Now, I don't know about how about your bank. So, what is the pay? What is the performance? What is the salary methods your banks are using? Performance-based or just fixed rate? No idea. Huh? Any comments? Your bank is using performance-based salary scheme or just and fixed salary revisions or collective-based agreement? No, kata, no. Right. So let's look at it. What are the salient features of performance-based salary revisions of a bank? Now, mind you, this question is in your 2019 September question, right? If you want, you can just say this question is 2019 September question paper, right? Okay, briefly discuss the salient features of performance-based based salary revisions of a bank. Okay, let me explain. Now, we discussed last week. There are two type of performance review for two type of remuneration systems in Sri Lanka. One is performance based remuneration system. What is the other one is we call collective agreement based salary scheme, right? That is the collective agreement based remuneration system and performance based remuneration system. Now, we discuss what is the difference between these two. Collective agreement based remuneration system determine employee remunerations for all grades through agreement between trade unions and management for a fixed period of time. Usually that period is 3 years, right? 3 years. In performance-based remuneration system mean the remuneration is determined based on individual or team job performance of the employees, right? So two things you need to understand what you mean by performance-based remuneration system and collective-based remuneration system. Now, this question is asking what are the salient features of performance-based salary revisions of based remuneration system. Now, the moment the question is asking about the salient features, remember you need to mention both good and the bad things. So, therefore, the same question can be asked in a different way. Sometimes the same question may can ask from uh, what are the uh, good thing for individual and employment for an individual and an organization, right? Now let's look at it. What are the some of the advantages for performance-based salary revision scheme? First one, you have to put down, Puta, right? You have to jot down the answer. First point you can say, encourage individual performances. Now, the more you work, more you performs, only you get better salary. So therefore, these systems, though that means the performance-based salary revision of a bank, first one, what is the advantage? First you need to explain. Now, if a questions comes like this, you need to tell what you mean by performance-based salary scheme. First, you define what is performance-based salary scheme system. So, performance-based salary revisions or performance-based remuneration system, whatever you call. First, you need to define. So, what is the define? In performance-based remuneration system, remunerations is determined based on individual or team job performance of employees. I have given you that definition in the previous slide, right? But if you want, you can put it down. First, if a question comes like that, first you need to write the definition. What do you mean by a performance-based salary revision? You get 1 mark for that, right? Out of 5 marks, 1 mark. You have to define what you mean by a performance-based remuneration system. So in performance-based remuneration system, remuneration is determined based on individual or team job performance of employees, right? That's the definition. So then what are the benefits of, what are the features of this? First one, the advantage for individual. If you want, sometimes the exam will ask you what are the advantage of performance based salary revision for employee. So that's the answer, right? Okay. One, encourage individual performance. First point, encourage individual performance. That means you work hard, you get more salary. Second point, remember, you don't want to write in this exam, in my exam, you don't want to write lengthy answers, right? And please put down some points. That's more than enough for you to pass the exam. Second point, in a way, encourage innovations. Encourage innovation. Why? Because if you want to improve your performances, right, you need to satisfy your customer, you need to come up with new innovations methodologies, right? So for that, while because of it's linked to the performances, your salary is linked to your performance, therefore you are trying to encourage innovation. Second point, encourage innovations, right? Second point. Now third point, just listen to me. Now say, now who is your how your performance is measured usually, to what extent you sell your product and services to your customers, right? In order to sell your product and services to your customer, you need to have a better customer relationship. Understood? So otherwise you can't sell, no. So you need to satisfy your customer. So therefore, now through the performance-based remuneration system, you don't want to lose the customer. Why? If the customer losing mean he take the entire money or business from you, you can't perform because you can't perform. You one of your customers left your organization or leave for another bank. So therefore, you through the performance remuneration system, whatever, improve customer relationship. Improve customers' relation and public confidence, right? Okay, we can put the third point, improve customer relationship and public confidence, because the employee try to satisfy customers at all times. That's good for your organization as well, right? Okay, so third point, improve customer relationship and public confidence, right? Always. So you don't want to lose the customer, right? So therefore, you perform well, your customers are with you, so they will bring more business, therefore your performance increase. That's the fourth point. Fourth point, you can say. Third point is fourth point, employee get the know his present performance level. Now you know this is your level because your performance all you are getting. Now you know my performance level is so much. So that tells you your performance standards. That means fourth point, employee get to know his present performance level. Right? Get to know your performance level. Now, say for an example. Now, just before the final exam about science management, I'll give you an exam, the small paper, pilot paper. Now, I will request you to answer. Now, to extent you earn marks, you know what is your standard of passing the exam. Right? The marks you obtain for that pilot test will give you some indication the level of your knowledge about passing the exam or sitting the exam. right? Likewise, these performance-based remuneration system, employee get to know his present performance level. Next point, identify employees' strength and weaknesses. Next point, it facilitates to identify his strengths and weaknesses. Now we have written 5 points, right? 5 points on that. First one is encourage individual performances, encourage innovation, right? Uh, then improve customer relationship, employee get to know his present performance level, identify his strength and weaknesses. Another one, improve contribution to the business profit. Improve, next point, improve contribution to the business stroke profit. Why? Some organizations, the organizations are having more profit, right? Your salary increase. So therefore, so you try to contribute to the organization by to improve their profits. Through improve the profits of the organization, accordingly your salary also increase. So therefore, the last one, improve contribution to the business stroke profit. So you are contributing to the improve the business and also to profits. Next point, right? So therefore, how many points are there? 6 points are there on performance-based remuneration system. Okay, those are for an individual. From the organization point of view, you can put another point here. Organization can promote, these are advantages, advantages, good things. So positive side, promote a result focused culture and behavior within the organization, right? You create in the organization, promotes a result focused culture. Everybody is going for results focused culture and behavior. So the next point, promote a result focused culture and behavior. This promotes result focused culture and behavior. So next one, now since you having the self performance based remuneration system, so management not necessary for go behind you. So therefore, because anyhow you work, but why you work? Because you know the money you are getting or salary you are getting as far as you are working. So no need somebody to come behind and push you. So therefore the next point, less supervision and less control. Less supervision and less control from the management point of view. Right? They don't want to go come behind you to do this, that. Why? Because anyhow you are working. So therefore, the next point is less supervision and less control from the management, right? Less supervision and less control. Next point, another important thing. Attract and retain people. Attract and retain people who expect to be rewarded for delivering results. You can write attract and retain people who expect to be rewarded for delivering results. Now, because some people, I mean, they want to work hard, because the more you work hard, more you get it. So some people are like that. So therefore, very easy to attract new people, who talented people, because you know his salary or his salary increase based on your performance. You know you are competent enough, you can work hard, you can earn more profit, you can perform well. So therefore, accordingly, my salary going to increase. So therefore, attract, and people who are work hard also keeping. Otherwise, what happen? He's comparing that fellow getting the same salary. I am work hard. That fellow, my same banking assistant, A and B, right? B is not doing anything. I am working hard, but I get the same salary. B also getting the same salary. Why should I work hard? Right? That mentality is there. So because of this performance remuneration system, facilitate to keep your existing employees as well as to attract new customers. New employees, because of the they are rewarded for delivery results, right? Okay, so the next one, final one, you can say. Um, uh, Improve organization overall performance. Now you see, improve organization overall performance. Now you see, these are the advantages or positive factors of performance based remuneration system. I'll take some time to explain to you, because these questions can be repeatedly asked, because that's an important area, right? The examiner can ask in a different way. So examiner can ask the same question without asking what are the advantages of performance based remuneration system, or so what are the salient features of a performance based system. Now you can the same question asking, there are two types of performance remuneration system for bank. One is performance based remuneration system, other one is collective agreement based remuneration system. Why you think the performance based reward systems or salary system or remuneration system better than the other method? Then you have to again, then if a question comes like that, you have to tell what is collective based agreement systems and what is performance based, and why is performance based system is better than collective based remuneration system, right? Or sometimes the same question can be asked by the examiner. What are the benefits you are getting from what are the benefits of remuneration, performance remuneration system to employee as well as to the organization? So then if a questions come, break it into two, you have to identify what I explained to you, divide it into two and give the answer. Now let's look at it. What are the some sort of the negative sides, right? Indicate how it benefits both employer and employee, and also some negative impact. Now what are the negative impact of having this? First one, right? Now this method first point, may focus on short-term productivity gain rather than long-term strategic goals. Why? So you try to why you try to do? You try to get more short-term benefit. You forget the long-term benefit, long-term goals. Right? Hey, salary ka thing then wada kolon parnya vanagathe karana denne komaද දැන් තමයි වැඩි කරන්නේ. So therefore you are concentrate on not, you may focus on short-term productivity. You focus on short-term productivity gain rather than long-term strategic goal. Focus on short-term productivity gain rather than long-term strategic goal. Those are the negative sides of the performance base, right? Okay. Second one. Second point, right? May focus on quantitative output, may focus on again quantitative output where you can easily measure at the expenses of the quality. At the expenses of the quality. දැන් අපි සේවාව පැත්තක දාලා මොහරි මේ මිනිහට මොකක් හරි දීලා යවන්න තමයි හදන්නේ. So may focus, second point, may focuses on quantitative outputs at the expenses of quality. That's the second one, right? Now third point you can say undermining team working by focusing individual effect. Undermining team working by focusing individual effect. Now if a teams are getting this all, what happened? So individual performance we are not going to do, because why? So team effect is not there. So therefore undermining team working by focusing individual efforts. So we need to focus in individual efforts, the team effects not be there. That is why I call undermining team working by focusing individual efforts. Third point. Fourth point. Right. Okay. Fourth point. Now remember this. I think we are going to discuss about financial misselling. can anybody tell me what is financial mis-selling? Have you heard about this story? Financial mis-selling. How many of you have done in your bank? Huh? What do you mean? We are going to learn that, but anybody can tell me what is financial mis-selling? Hmm? Any idea of what is financial mis-selling, Puta? No idea. What is financial mis-selling? Can anybody tell me? කියන්න බැයිද මොකද්ද financial mis-selling? වැරදි විකිණීම. So financial mis-selling mean without giving the full information to customer, you are using some good points only. You are going to selling the goods to the customers. දැන් සමහරලාට මේ customers ලාට මේ financial product එක ඕනේ නැහැ. but ඔයගොල්ලෝ බොරු කියලා එක විකුණනවා. Right? So that will lead to the reputational risks of the organization. You can put like this: encourage financial mis-selling. You can say negative sides. Encourage financial mis-selling. MISSELLING. Encourage financial mis-selling. It leads to what? It leads to reputational risk of the bank. It leads to the reputational risk of the bank. එතකොට හිතනවා මට වංචා කළා මේ බැංකුව මම කොහොමද මේ වගේ වංචා කරන බැංකුවක. Now you are representing the bank, right? කොහොමද සල්ලි දාන්නේ? එහෙම හිතින්න පුළුවන්. So encourage mis-selling. Because why you try to mis-sell? Because your performance based on your salary, your remuneration based on performance. That is why you are trying to mislead the customers and anyhow try to sell your product or increase your business, right? Okay, now we learned that. Then now while we have anyhow you are trying to do no, so what you are trying to do, the next important point is possibility of violating internal control lead to financial frauds. Right, next one, possibility of violating the internal controls. Then now you noted that I can't do this work, right? But you try to violate because the more, now say you want to get a new customer. So based on if you get a new customer, new current customer, so you will be rewarded, right? Now you found that there's a customer, the customer integrity is not good. Now you put lot of there's a procedure to open a current account, but you are trying to deviate this procedure and anyhow you are trying to open an account for him. Why? Number of customers will determine your remuneration. So what makes you to do then? Possibility of you are trying to violate internal control lead to financial fraud. Mulla vancha නිසා ඇති වෙන්න හැකියාව වැඩි. So another weaknesses of this, right? Now another important thing I want to explain to you. Now, for example, I think you may going to learn this financial crisis in so I think survey or commercial banking, but anyhow now you know one of the reason for financial crisis took place in 2007-2008. The banking sector or the banks are introduced more complex high risk financial products, right? So you need to come up with new high financial risk product where you know higher the risk, but is kept. Higher the risk, higher the return. So you usually come with you try to introduce new because why you are benefit to innovation also. No? So you can say tend to introduce more risky financial products to customers. May tend to sell tend to introduce more risky financial product to customers, right? Example for such products we are going to learn. Example, asset backed securities. asset-backed securities, ABS. We are going to discuss, I think, I don't know whether you have already learned, asset-backed securities. Asset-backed securities is a financial product, very risky, high return, right? Average person cannot understand, right? So the as a result of that. Okay. Then another point, another weaknesses I can tell you. Now, you within an organization, whatever, you try to create a culture in the organization where employees expect to do rewarded for everything. Now, you performance reward, reward කරන්න කියනවා. So it's not a good thing also, right? One negative point is create a culture where employees expect to be rewarded for everything, right? Rewarded for right? Okay, right. You can say another weaknesses is difficult to implement team activities, right? Team activities, right? Difficult to implement team activities. Okay, these are some of the weaknesses. Okay, clear? Right. Okay. Harida. Right. Now, I think you wrote a comprehensive answer for that. Mind you, this may be repeatedly come for your exam. So therefore, please try to remember all these things. Right. Now, the question says salient features. Again, remember, salient means good and the bad thing you have to explain. Right. Any questions? Terunada? So, understood or not? Arida? Terunada? Terunada? Yes or no? Okay, no feedback. Budida? Huh? Nada? Okay then. නැත්තම් මං ඉතින් ඕගොල්ලෝගේ නම් කියලා අහන්න වෙනවනේ. සද්ද නැත්තම්. Okay? හරිද? තේරුණාද? Understood? Akila, okay? Kaushalya, Kaushalya say okay, right? I'll accept. I'll take the random sample representing the population. Okay, right. Now go back again to our next topic. Right. Now, why some employees underperform? Now, you also comes under that that category. No, I don't think. No, why some employees are not perform well in the organization? What are the reason? Right? Some employees are not underperforming. Some employees are underperform. That also important thing because a lot of time this problem will faced by the management. Some employees, after taking with all sort of interviews, train them, but still you are not performing well. So underperforming, you are not working as per the management expectation. So what are the reasons? You can identify, there are two ways, maybe inside reason, maybe outside reason. So one thing is, the first one, lack of motivation. Lack of motivation. First point, lack of motivation. Second, you can say inappropriate attitudes. Your attitudes you are not positive thinker. You always say no, bad, right there. Inappropriate attitudes, second point, right? And sometimes you are not getting enough training and development to do your job. So we are going to discuss that later on, right? So lack of training and development. So that's one of the reason you are underperforming, because you don't know what to do, because the management has not given you adequate training. Next one, maybe unrealistic targets given to you, not achievable targets, right? So you are fed up, you are frustrated. කවදාකවත් මේ target එක ගන්න බෑ. අපි කියනවා දවසකට current account එක 10 දෙනෙක් ගේන්න කියලා ඔයගොල්ලන්ට. right? Can you do that? It's very difficult, right? So therefore, because of the unrealistic targets, right? Unrealistic targets, right? Other one due to some personal reason, some personal reason. Personal reason. We will discuss under grievances on that, right? Further, personal reason. What are the personal reasons? I have some personal issues. You know, I can't tell you all these personal reasons. You think as appropriate, right? The boss is bad. You can't work. There's another boy is coming behind you or girl coming behind you. Whatever. Personal reason, right? Other one you can say not support from the superior or peers, right? Or not supporting from the superior or peers. That means your boss is not supporting you. ඔයාව එපා කරනවා ඔයාට වැඩ දීලා වැඩ කරනතර බොස් මොකද කියන්නේ ඉතින් ඔයා මොකක් හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් ආවම මේ ඔයා කියලා කිව්වම මේ මම මේවා වැඩ දින්න ඔයාව පුරුදු කරන්න ඔයාව ට්‍රේන් කරන්න right කියලා බොරු කරලා සරසන right so but you're fed up with work right so not support from the superiors and peers as well as your colleagues, right? Okay, that's another point. Second one, job stress. Job stress. We are going to discuss later on. So just put a job stress, right? Job stress, right? Those are outside factors, right? So these are some of the reasons why employees are underperformed. Okay, right. I think we have done that part. More than, and that also one of your questions, the question is asked in a different angle, right? 2019 September. Okay, right. Now we are going to continue today where we have left last week, tube number 3. Now we started with reward management, right? We discussed in the reward management, but don't worry about some of the things. I just, for the benefit for you to understand only, I'm just telling some of the points, but it's not necessary. That's enough, right? Now, there are some incentives. Now, while working, you have monetary incentives and non-monetary incentives, right? Okay, so that's called financial incentives and non-financial incentives, right? Financial incentives are usually, we call them as most traditional incentive you are getting, right? But sometimes the non-financial incentive may be social and psychological needs of the employee. Now, say for an example, you are provided transportation. You are providing a vehicle. You are providing a motorcycle, car. So those are non-financial incentives, right? Right? Any incentives not with the cash, or maybe recognitions, best employee, like that, right? So there are some financial incentives and non-financial incentives for employee can get other than your job, right? So then we move into another important area where we call them as job evaluation. Job evaluation, right? So what is job evaluation? Job evaluation. Now, remember, job evaluation, basically we call them as a what? Just explain to you. What is job evaluation? Is a systematic way of determining the value or worth of the jobs in relations to other jobs in an organization. Now, we discussed at the very early stages, maybe the second or third lecture, we discussed what is jobs. Jobs are the building blocks of blocks of an organization, right? There may be a lot of jobs established in the organization. To what purpose? To do the particular tasks and duties, right? So you think about your bank. You have a banking assistant, depend on your bank, right? Banking assistant, junior executive, then senior executive, then you have a chief manager, senior manager, chief manager, AGM, DGM, sometimes called vice president, senior vice president, like that. So in an organization, you have a different job, no? Right? Now, so all people who are having that particular post are getting the same salary, right? No. So different salaries, right? So therefore, through the job evaluation, what we try to do, we are trying to find it out the value or worth of the job in relations to other jobs in the organization. Now, through the job evaluation, what we are trying to do, and we try to develop a salary or pay structure for that institution or that person. So remember, so therefore, job evaluation is a systematic way of determining the value or worth of the job in relation to other jobs in an organization, and what is the ultimate objective motive of job evaluation, thereby to determine the salary of that particular job. How much we need to be. That is why you see banking assistant, right? So some people think banking assistant, what is job? Take the money, give the money and all. But think your boss, DGM, AGM, manager, oh, you have a headache, no? Sometimes he has lot of decisions to make, lot of activity to done. We have to bring the business to the organization, improve the profit to the bank, improve the profit to the branch. So many things he has to done. So when you're compared with your banking assistant and the manager, worth of the job is too different. So therefore, he has to pay more than you. Fair enough, right? So that is why some private banks, especially your DGM and AGMs, are getting how much you think? If you are getting 20,000, 30,000, sometimes the DGMs are getting how much you think? Sometimes unbelievable, maybe around 7-8 lakhs. Oh, right? That's what. This is මහන්සියලා වැඩ කරනවා, අපි responsibility කරනවා, අපි වගකීම වැඩි, right? ඒ වගේම තමයි ඉතින් බැනලුත් අහනවා නේද? So ඉතින් මොකද කරන්නේ boss? ඒගොල්ලන්ට බයිනකොට ඒගොල්ලෝ මැනේජර්ට බයිනවා, මැනේජර් ඕගොල්ලන්ට බයිනවා. So this is how it works, no? Right, ultimately. Okay, right. Now you know what you mean by a job evaluation. Now, so let's look at it. How job evaluation begins. Remember, job evaluation begins with the job analysis. Why? Job analysis talk about qualities of the person, specification, and things to do. හරිනේ? මොනවද යාට කරන්න දෙන්නේ? Experience, education. So the job evaluation therefore begins with the job analysis. Understood? No? That is why we learn job analysis. What is job analysis mean? Tasks, duties, and responsibilities. Right? So then, so what is the two component of that? Job specifications and job description, right? So based on what are you think to do, what you need to do, and what are the qualification you need to do that, based on that, job is evaluated, right? Okay, now let's look at it very simply. We are going to learn this job evaluation methods. Why I am going to tell you? Because one time we asked that question. Right. There are primarily three methods of job evaluation. Three methods of job evaluation. I am going to explain to you one by one. One, ranking method. I will explain to you, right? Second, classification method. And third, factor comparison method. Now, some textbooks say point system. Some people are saying point system, but in your case, these three method is available is okay. Some people are method point system, but in your level, these three method is more than enough. What are the three methods? Ranking methods, classification method, factor comparison method. Now we are going to discuss. We are going to learn all these methods very briefly, very simply, right? Okay. Now, first method is the ranking method. Now, out of the other two methods, this method considered to be the very simplest method of job evaluation. That is it, right? Now, now here jobs are ranked from the most important to the least important as general factors, right? Most important to the less important general factor. That's how you rank, right? So therefore, under this method, jobs are arranged from highest to lowest in order of their value or merits to the organization. Right now, as I explained to you, from the manager, say for your branch manager up to banking assistant or junior banking assistant or whoever you call it, right? So the top of the jobs will take the highest value, while bottom will take the lowest value. Simple as that. Now you know what is the ranking method. The variation in payment of salaries therefore depend on the variations of the nature of the job performed by the employees. Now you know the ranking methods. Hopefully understood, right? Okay. Now let's look at the second method, right? The second method, and we call them as a classification method. Now, jobs are analyzed and grouped according to the predetermined classes or group, right? And this class or groups are arranged according to the importance. Now, under classification methods, a predetermined number of jobs or group classes are established, right? Are assigned to these classifications. Now, say for an example, you have a class 1, right? Executive, class 2, skill worker, class 3, semi-skilled, class 4, unskilled, like that. Now, for your bank, you can say executive, assistant general managers, deputy general managers. Otherwise, you say grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, like this. Likewise, you classify your people into job classes or groups like class 1, class 2, class 3, right? Or maybe executives like that. Junior executive, senior executive, then some people are saying executive, special grade, AGMs, DGMs, like that. You classify your jobs based on the grades, right? All AGMs are same salary, maybe all DGMs. There may be a differences, but there's some one. All AGMs for the one category, right? AGM may be having different places working, but all are considered to be the AGMs. That's a classification. Third method is the most recognized method, a widely used method in a lot of organizations. We call factor comparison method. What is that? Factor comparison method. A quantitative method that evaluates a set of selected jobs according to some several factors and evaluate. Now, let me explain to you on that. Right now, this is a widely used method in an organization, right? Let's look at it. Now, jobs are expressed in terms of key factors. Now, remember again, jobs are expressed in terms of key factors. The points are assigned to each factor after prioritizing each factor in order of importance, right? Now, say you need to do this job, right? This factor you consider factor, and marks assigned for that particular factor. Now, this marks was given based on the importance of that key factor, right? The marks are allocated for the importance of that particular factor. Then what happened? So ultimately, they have, say, point 1, point 2, point 3, like that, 10 marks, 20 marks, like that. Finally, you calculate all marks, employees' marks, right? All employees in the organization based on the certain factor. Say, for an example, responsibility, accountability, right? How much you contribute to the profit to the organization, how many people are managed under you, likewise you can consider all these points, right? And points was given. So ultimately, all the employees are marked, right? And the final point, suppose you are getting the same marks, all these 5 marks are put together, and that is called factor comparison. Now, say for an example, I'll give you a classic example. Now, if we want to form a group, what we do, can you remember at the classroom when you go, schools level? So we want to have 3 groups. Now, say class is having 30 numbers. How can you group them? We ask them to call 1, 2, 3. So next time 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Homework is the Rama Kiagan 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It was a Mokada teacher again. Then one keepu lamaitiko koma me patten, 2 keepu lamai arapatten, tuna arapatten. So ultimately you form a separate 3 teams based on the same number. Likewise, first you give the points and you assign the task or a key factor, allocate the point, ultimately add all the points. Who you are getting the same points are putting into one point, one salary, right? Who get the, say, ultimately 100, somebody is getting 80, somebody's are getting 40. So therefore 100 are put into one salary scale, 80 people are put into another salary race, like that. So therefore, this method, we call them as the factor comparison method, right? So I think you understood very simply the 3 methods. That's more than enough. And this is, in fact, I gave you your 2015 March paper question, right? Okay. So what you need to know under that, what is job evaluation? What is the purpose of job evaluation? Why we do job evaluation? To find it out, to measure the relative worth of the job. And why we need to find out the relative worth of the job? In order to determine the salary for that particular job, not to the person, right? To the job. For that, we need to evaluate job. How we are going to evaluate the job? We identify there are 3 ways you can evaluate the job. One method is ranking method. Second, classification method. Third, factor comparison method. Okay, right. So, no questions? No question? Right. Then we move into the next point. That is what you call training and development. Training and development. So training and development also very interesting area. So now I am going to ask you from a small question. Aneputo, I need some feedback from you, right? I need some feedback from you. Then only I am stimulate. Otherwise, I am not stimulate. One questions I am going to ask from you. What we have learned. How you call, now this is the subject we call training and development. Now I'm asking a simple question, right? How you call the person who getting the first training is, sir is discussing the week 4. T3 we are discussing week 4, no? Week 4, yes, correct. Yeah, maybe week 4. Right? Okay. Week 4, T3, that's a human resource management, Tube 1, right? Tube 3, we are discussing HR 3. Right. Okay. Now, training and development mean what is the first training that any employee getting of the organ? How you call the first training the employee is getting in the organization? Can anybody tell me? කාටද කියනකොට ඉස්සෙල්ලාම ඕගොල්ලන්ට හම්බෙන පුහුණු වීමට කියන නම මොකක්ද? Can anybody tell me? Any volunteer? Huh? Right, good. Harita giving me the correct answer. Inductions. Very good. Right. Or orientation program. That's the first training you give, no? What are the areas covered under induction? මොනවගේ training ද දෙන්නේ induction period induction training එකේදී මොකද්ද දෙන්නේ they give the basis of the knowledge about the bank, your bank, history, the structure, vision, mission, number of branches, financial status, and all sort of things. No, and also products. Also, what are the products available to sell to the customers? And also they talk about the other factors like the administrative factors, especially the HR, right? Especially the HR. Okay, HR. Clear? Right. Oh, so there 1 minute. Huh? Harita, wow, confidence moment. Does anyone have been these notes? I get these notes discussing can anyone share? Right? Okay, I think somebody has shared it. Huh? Sanduni, it is in a good Google Classroom. Do you know how to join revisions? Revisions, I think, Puta, you have to get a separate link, I suppose, right? Okay, so discussing the week 4 years. Inductions, good. Induction, thanks. Okay, I'm just going through some of the chats, right? Okay, now you know what is inductions. While we are discussing certain point, we will recall what we have learned also, right? Just to see whether you understood the concept. Very good, somebody's answer. What's the first training you are getting in your bank is what you call induction. What are the things you are going to learn under induction? The things what I explained to you. Now, while you are working, right? While you are working, so you need to do, right? Now I'll tell you something. Why you think training is important? Why you think? Now, if I draw something in your hand, not in your board, can you see that, Puta? Right? Or can you see? If I draw something, why we need training and development? Now, see, it's like a seesaw. The you know what I mean? Seesaw is not the kind. Now, this side you have basically the job. The job, but you, in order to perform your job, what you need? You need certain skills. That means you need certain competence. Now, what do you mean by competence? Competency. Competency means you need some skill, some knowledge, some attitudes, right? Skills, knowledge, attitudes, and attributes. Those are we call your competencies. Every job you need some competencies. Okay, right. Now, but you are having not enough here, right? Not enough. So what we are, because the new skills are coming, new computer system, new packages are coming while you're working, so you need to update your knowledge, right? Now here, in this sense, right? Okay. Now, training and development. Sorry. Sorry. There's a question. I forget. Okay. Before that, can you give this answer? I'm sorry, before training and development, we try to answer this question. Following is not a job evaluation method. Simple, no? What's the answer? Can anybody quickly say? Following is not a job evaluation method. Simple. But again, this type of job evaluation, no? What is not there? Job?
D.
Job?
D.
Enlargement. අනි මොනහරි ඕල ඇක්ටිව් ඉන්වෝල්ව් වෙන්න එතකොට තමයි හොඳ නේද නැත්තම් නිදිමතයි වගේ. Right. Okay. Now training and development. So now I'll explain to you, this is an HRM function, right? It is important function. Now certain banks, we have a separate manager for that purposes in the HR department, because sometimes we call HR, so a training manager. We have a training department, sometimes within the human resource management division, right? Separate part, right? So why training and development is necessary? So if you can draw this diagram, I think it is an ideal. I will give you now. Okay. First, now see. Okay, just look at it. While you are writing, look at it. Okay. Before now, what is your job demands? Job need perform certain duties and responsibilities, right? Okay. So that is your job required. But what is your capability? Your capability, now the competency in order to perform, now say before, right? Job demands duties and responsibility. You need to perform your job now. For that, what you need here, you need competencies. You need competencies. Now, what are the competencies mean? Skills, knowledge, attitudes, attributes. Okay, now I'm going to explain what do you mean by your skills. You need, in order to perform that particular job, you need some sort of a what skill? Technical skill. You need some sort of a soft skill, that mean the HR skills, human resource, human relationship skills, or human skills. Or you need sometimes conceptual skills. There are three types of skills. What are the three types of skills? Conceptual skill, think in future, more strategically we look at it. Second skill, technical skills, we need to do day-to-day operations activities, and we need to always need to do people with people. Maybe I need to do with customers, maybe we deal with subordinate, maybe deal with your boss, maybe peers. So you need some sort of HR skills. These are the skills you need here. The next skill is what you call the conceptual. So you need to strategically need to look at it. Third skill as a technical skill. What is the knowledge you need to? You need to knowledge about industry, banking industry. What is happening in the banking industry? What is the interest rate? What is the present SRR? What is the present standing deposit rates? Like that, you need to know about the industry, right? So the next knowledge is about your product and services. You need to know about what are the products you need to sell to the customers. What are the specific benefit or specific features about your product, and also you need to look have a knowledge about your competitor. So then only you know the competitor's knowledge only, right? You can compare your product is better than your competitor product, right? You need to know about your product and services. Okay, you need to know about your industry, know about your banking, know about something about all these things. And the attributes mean you need to attitudes mean you need to look, have a positive mindset to do, right? Positive in culture to develop. Oh, I can do it like that. Attributes mean the way you may present your views to the management or to the customers or whoever you need. That's the attributes. How you make a presentation, how you make a show in a graphical format. Those are attributes. So those are what you call competencies. What you call competencies. So you need to have certain competency to do this particular job. But your capability or your competency is not enough for you to perform that job. So therefore, what happened? The seesaw comes always this way. Now, what happened? If you want to get a bring to the normalcy, what you're trying to do? So you need to fulfill that required gap in the competency. Right? Your job is required so much, you are having this. So what you try to do? You have to put more weight. So what is that weight? That weight is calling training and development. I think you understood that. So clear? I think you clearly understood. So through the training and development, if the training and development questions come, if you put this diagram, the examiner is very well understand. Right? Remember that they know what you're trying to explain to the customer. සමහර වෙලාවට ලියලා කියන්න බැරි ඒවා බලලා තේරුම් ගන්න. right? Okay, right. Okay, next point, right? And then competency gap analysis. Now, what we did here, we are analyze your competency in other work, right? In other work, you analyze your gap in competency. So what is gap? But a competency gap analysis mean therefore may be defined as requirements needed for an employee for performing a specific task of the job in the institution. So in the institutions need to match such required and acquired competencies in order to find suitable employees to carry out given tasks and effective manner. Now I think you understood. I don't want to give further explanation on this. What is competency gap analysis? Right? Through the training, we are trying to fill this gap. Remember, through the training, we are trying to filling this gap. Right? Okay, I think you're clearly understood. Harida Puta Terunada, right? You understood gap analysis and training and development. Actually, the training and development mean is a change in your behavioral change. Right? It's a behavioral change, right? To perform us better. Okay, now let's look at it. Some of the right. Oh, okay, here, purposes. It is there in your handout, right? I'm just searching where it is. I don't know how it goes this one. Okay, it is there in your handout, little late, right? Okay, now before that, let's look at it. 1 minute. All right, before we move into this method, we will discuss what is employee training and development, right? Every time when we talk about the training, we talk about training and development. Are they the same or are two are different? Remember, these two are different. There's still no question asked about this. There may be a possibility of asking a question on this area, right? What is the difference between training and development? Remember, both are not the same. Both are different. What is training? Training, remember, is focus on the current job. Focus on the current job, right? Focus on the current job. Whereas the development focus is on the future and more challenging job. So provide more future job, right? That is the development, right? So we give for you focus on more future and more challenging. So development is preparation for you to take a challenging job in the future. Now you as a banking assistant, so what did they try to do? Develop to become a manager of the bank. So therefore training is the focus on current job. Development is focus of the future job. Right. Now remember, training is usually limited to develop job-related knowledge, skill, attitudes, technology, attributes, or whatever. But honestly, the development is not only giving only the present job, but other areas as a develop the person as a whole, right? Okay, as a person as a whole. So you need to know. So somebody can tell. Now say, good example I'll tell you, right? Somebody will ask from somebody's asked from you. You are in the finance department. Say you are working in the finance department in the bank. Somebody had asked while you're going for some small function. Somebody's asking, which bank? Oh, I am in this. What is the present interest rate, Puta? Because these are very interest rates very low. No, then what you are telling? No, I am working in the finance department. You have to ask from. I'm not much aware on that. You need to ask from marketing or branch people. My goodness, operation people. Finish, no? Why? So you're not developed in that case. You're not confined only to your job, but you need to develop, have a knowledge about what is happening in the other area. Right? You're in a position to know your bank's other activities. You're a marketer in that case, right? Right? If you can say my bank is giving higher rate than this, then that person can come to your bank. That is what we need to develop you into such a way, right? Okay, so training is temporary in nature and the development is more permanent in nature. And development long term, right? And training is short term, right? So enable the employee to perform the current job better, and development any facilitate for you to perform your job, future job as well. Right. I think now you understood what you mean by employee training and development, and what is the difference between training and development. Okay. Harida. Okay. Right. So now we move into the next point, right? As we said, it is in your handout. What is the purpose or objective of training and development? Training and development. Right now, it is there in your handout a little later. So take that part before we move into the next point. Purposes of training and development. Now, as we look at it, this point in two different aspects, right? Two different aspects mean we look at it this part in from the organization's point of view as well as the employee's point of view, right? So that's the important thing. Now, examiner can ask you, like earlier I explained to you, why the performance-based remuneration system benefited to the employee as well as to the employer. Likewise, same questions can be asked from the examiner. What is the importance of training and development for employer to the bank or and to the customer and to the employee? Right? Then they will have the hurried ලියන්න ඕනේ. අර කිව්වා මේකට ලියලා මේ කිව්වා ඒකට ලියලා හරියන්නේ නැහැ. Right? Okay, let's look at it now. First, we look at it. What is the purpose of training and development? Point of organization. Organizational point of view. Right. First one, increase the quality of the product because people know how to do the job, so improve your quality. Increase the quantity of production. Increase the productivity. Reduce wastage. Then lower the cost of maintenance equipment and to reduce the degree of supervision. To improve employee motivation, increase employee morale, to prevent employee from obsolescence. That means you need to be updated every time, right? You create a quality person, right? Through training and development. And training and development also try to important for the employee's point of view. Improve your new skills, knowledge, so higher confidence level through the training. Now you know what to do and how to do. You build up your confidence level, possibility of getting promoted, higher rewards, right? More job security, increase motivations and satisfaction. There are a lot of benefits you are enjoying through training and development. Right? Now, sometimes examiner can ask you the same question like this. Right? Short notes. Training and development can be considered as an investment to the organization. Right? Examiner can ask you. Training and development can be considered as an investment. So what is investment mean? We are investing. So we are going to learn investment, right? Later on. Maybe another 1 week or 2 weeks time, we are going to learn investment, know it, type of investors, type of customers. Okay. So what is investment mean? But why we invest for something? We are expecting some return, right? So what are the returns? These are the returns, the advantages, right? So indirectly they're asking advantages of training and development. But before that, you have to say what is training and development, and you can say what are the benefits. It is a these are the benefits you are going to get it through the training and development. That is why we consider it is an investment, right? තේරුණානේ ඒ වගේ උත්තරේ ආවම ඔළුව පාවිච්චි කරලා කියන්න ඕනේ. දැන් එහෙම එකක් කියලා නෑ නිසර. කියලා තින්නේ ඇඩ්වාන්ටේජ් විතරනේ. එතකොට investment, so that is your skill, right? You think what is what you investment is expecting some return. What is the return? Improve these things from the customer, from the employee's point of view and employee's point. Okay, right. Then we move into the another important area. So methods of employee development. So how to develop? This is in 2019 March question, right? Methods of employee development. What are the methods available for you to develop your employee? Now, one, training. One you can do is training. Remember, these are not training and development, these are development. How can you develop a person? Improving your present levels, training through training. So what are the training methods we can identify? Right, so many things you can name it, right? So in up to now there you were not requested to learn all these methods of training. Now if I put it it is in your handout later on, you can see what are the methods of training. On the job training, job rotation, mind you, job rotation we learned it's a training methods. On the job training, job rotation, case studies, skill building. So you have later all these methods, understudy, work understudy, lecture methods, right? Assignment methods, all are considered to be a method of training, right? So examiner may not ask you all this, I mean in your syllabus, they are not asked us to explain the training methods, but you need to have some sort of a knowledge about what are the training methods. Now you use your knowledge, use your practicality to answer this question if a questions come. Now you may undergo different type of training though, right? You may go for lectures, face-to-face courses, open learning courses. Now webinar they are giving training now, right? Reading manuals, right? So rule books, guidelines, also training methods, right? Job choice mean, what do you mean by a job search? Job search mean also job rotation, right? Second one, you work for some other organization and IT training, e-learning. Those are methods of training, right? Okay, so you have an idea. So another one is this. Remember, this is a development. This is second method is coaching. Second method is coaching. Now I'll just give you a little briefing on what is coaching. Now the moment you say coaching, cricket coach, right? Football coach. What coach is doing? He tells you how to use your techniques. Now in cricket, what the coaches tell you, how to field, how to take the catch, how to bat, forward defensive, hockey, how to play the shots, football, how to cover the people, like that. Coaching. Coaching is that somebody is coming behind you and tell you how to achieve your goals and objectives, right? He gives directions. It's a development thing, right? It's a development thing. It will develop the team members according to the requirements, right? So that is coaching. So then some of the factors to be considered in coaching. Remember, certain factors you need to consider, right? So making a decision to coach. So he will take, you know, sometimes when they're selecting a team, so coach also involved in that decision, right? What sort of a type of coaching to be adapted to your employees? So you need to understand. Identify the coach who is going to select, right? Now in Sri Lanka also, we find it out who is going to be the Sri Lankan coach for cricket. So you need to identify who is the coach. When selecting a coach, you need to understand whether he can deliver, whether he will do, and also monitoring the results of the coaching, whether employees change the behavior. Now, remember, training is changing the behavior, right? Something you do better than what you have done earlier. So through the coaching, whether the results be achieved, we need to look at it, right? Right. So therefore, proper appraisal activity is important for, especially for training, for coaching, right? And also it must be regular review. Otherwise, no pointing of having a coaching. Okay, right. So the next one is mentoring. Now, there's another one. It's called leadership mentoring. Now, there are some mentors, right, in the organization. Now, if you have some problem, he will support morale. Now, in Sri Lanka, also cricket time, we have a mentor. Mentor means now the cricket, every time we are losing, so somebody has to come and provide the moral support to bring all of something like that. So while you're working, sometime every time you may not achieve the target, you have some personal problem, and therefore you are mentoring. Leadership mentoring is important, right? Thereby you can develop that person. Or now somebody say, "Oh, you are going to be the next GM." Oh, then you say, "No, I am not fit enough." No, you can do. So you will support the moral, right? Remember, so the guy in the mentor, like coach, so you need to listening to the people. So the mentor selection is something else. So you need to understand who is going to be the best mentor, what are the qualities and qualification must the mentor should have, right? There are some advantages, right? And maybe poor staff retention sometime, right? He may be frustrated. He's a very much, say for an example, a good performer in your branch, but some recently he's not performing well. He won't tell why is not performing well to others. He's now become a underperforming person. Now mentor can be with them, talk to them, and change his attitudes. So therefore, he's meant to be a good communicator. And he may, why you say communicator? Because he must be listen to that person, right? So thereby you can develop the individuals. Okay, so what are the development? Three types of development. One is the training, second one is coaching, third one is mentoring. Right? Some banks will have a mentor, right? Then due to some personal issues, you are not working hard, then the mentor will come and tell you and support you to build, improve your morale, right? So today, life training, important is development. So for that development, we need some sort of, in addition to training, we need some good mentors, right? So mentor's job is very much. So next point, we talk about the learning. Now, sometimes people be thinking, what is the difference between training and learning and training and development? Learning is a process, progressive behavior adaptation. So the learning, it's a permanent change of your behavior. So that learning is inbuilt, so it has to come from you, right? Learning. Now say, I can coach you, I can be a mentor, but learning has to be done for you. So you need, it's a process of progressive behavior adaptation, right? Progressive behavior adaptation. It's a permanent change in behavior, which occurs as a result of experiences and practices, right? Now that is learning. Learning comes from experience and practices, right? Now that is why I'm telling you to practice answering questions. That will learn, because it's a progressive behavior. It's a permanent change, right? Okay, right. So there are some different learn curves, but don't worry about much on that, right? Okay. So with this, we have done. And finally, we going to come to discuss about the training process, the training cycle. Sometimes we call them as training cycle. Now, I think a lot of organization are basically firstly, usually the training manager send the letter in the early in the year and asking training needs. So through your performance evaluation, remember now, through your performance evaluation, one of the purpose of performance evaluation is identify your weaknesses, right? So that through the training and development, you are trying to fill these gaps. So you identify the training needs. Usually, whatever the training manager send everybody, every head of the department to identify the training needs of your employees. They say, okay, manager A said there may be a lacking in computer knowledge, industry knowledge, product knowledge, and like that. So all the informations comes to training manager. He has categorizing training needs, right? And he make, suppose lot of employees are not aware about banking product and services. Now what you do? There's a huge requirement, need analysis. So you develop a training program to fill this gap. What is the program? Lecture on introductions of bank product and services. Then you conduct training program, send letters to those managers, people who are interested in you have identified, please send them for the training. That is training needs. You first identify the training need. Then maybe there may be a lot of needs now. So you may prioritize which one I want to give. Say majority of them have identified the employees are lacking of product and services knowledge. So you give the priority. First you conduct that. Second may be operational issues, teller functions and like accordingly you categorize. That is prioritize, right? And you then decide what is objective. What are you expecting from a training training programs? Improve the knowledge or whatever you look at, right? And then you look at the how we are going to evaluate your evaluation your criteria. How we are going to measure training effectiveness. So there's a ways of doing, right? After perform, once you have the training program, so you look at it. The progress, whether your employees has improved the product and knowledge, right? And next one is designing a programs, training programs. That means, so where are you going to have the location, time, what is the method, what is the budget, and all things you're going to look at it, and then you are going to implement. So these are the systematic training process. I don't think they will ask from you, but at least you need to know if the examiner asks from you, what is the systematic training process, right? So with this small note, we are come to an end of training, right? Very simple, right? Okay, they won't ask much big questions, mind you, but you need to have a knowledge on that. Then another important area we are going to discuss with you in the bank, we call another, what is this? It's an HR function, health and safety of the employees. Now these days, management is very much care about your health and your safety, right? They may give, some banks are giving masks to wear it, some banks to buy their own money, some banks are providing, some have a, you see now nice banks, what you have done it earlier, may have a polythene cover in front of that. So some people are having nice cover, but some people put polythene, you can't see. Now where is marketing now? No, we talk about one-to-one eye contact, no more eye contact, social distance. My goodness, all marketing has gone, right? We are dealing with no, I can't see your face. I can't. I don't know whether you are laughing or not. You have a blouse. My goodness, right? What we are talking, eye to eye contact, talk to customers, speak to customers, smile to customers. Now, where this COVID has got everything, right? Now, what we don't come close, 1 meter, even 2 meter, right? Have a mask, have a gloves. We are not looking at even the customer, right? But why? Because health and safety, right? Okay. So then, health. What do you mean by health? Health refers, remember, generally physical, emotional, and mental well-being, right? Not only that, health mean physical, emotional, mental well-being. Why? Now, while you're working in the bank, you ensure that the person, that your customer, is free from COVID. So that's the emotional and mental well-being, right? In order to sure what we are telling, we tell security, don't send the people inside without having the mask. Mask has to be properly fit now. So otherwise, you are not not healthy employee. That means you're emotionally or mentally well-being, not well-being, right? So that's important. The health. Then what is safety? Now safety means freedom from danger, from risk of working, or protection from physical health of employees. So health and the safety are two means. So important of the HR is the administrations of these two, right? Remember, is the job of a HR manager. Employees health and employees safety. Okay, now let's look at it. Some of the points here, right? Even though it is not in your handout, if you like, you can just put down some of the points here, right? Why these health and safety is important? Now think about this. Now, results, consequence of occupational health and safety. Now, occupational accidents, right? Now, loss of hearing, eyesight, broken fingers, loss of body parts, death. Now, you see, while you are working in the computer, you may given some extra money, while you have loss of sight, some eyesight problem. Look at only the computer. Sometimes you're working in the bank as a call center, or maybe a telephone operator level or reception style, whatever. Loss of hearing. Why? Every time you get a call, singing, go answer, good morning, BC Bank, good afternoon, madam, and all problems. No? So those are occupational accidents. Some people working as from while they maybe have some problem with the fingers. So they may cut the fingers, damage fingers, maybe loss of body parts like that. While also death, right? So what is the outcomes? Outcomes for an organization: medical cost, high compensation, high legal cost, decline of reputation. Those are the outcomes if you are not have the better HNS, right? Because your medical cost, your employees are not health and safe, whatever, your medical bill is going to go up. Suppose something happened due to you are not fulfill certain things, you need to pay high compensation, high legal cost, and reputation, all matters. So therefore, organization, banks need to look after employees' health and safety, because there are maybe occupational accident can take place while you're working. As a result, outcomes is expenses to your organization, both financially and non-financially, right? Then look at it, some occupational diseases. Now, there are two types of, right? Health and safety. Why? One, occupational accidents and occupational disease. Sometimes cancer, asthma, right? So, what is the outcome? Absenteeism, turnover, job dissatisfaction, all lot of problems. So therefore, all things create loss or cost to the organization. So therefore, health and safety administration is important, play an important role. Now, say for an example, now under this COVID-19 situation, a lot of banks, right? A lot of banks, if you find it out, some of the employees have some infected with corona, immediately the bank itself requesting from the private hospital and do some testing, right? So we are not waiting the government people to come and do the testing, right? Whatever. So the bank, I know certain banks like that, but not all banks, right? Not all banks are doing, but certain bank immediately test the positive of the PCR by spending the bank money back. Oh, immediately bank call infect disinfection people, so private, and disinfect the entire branch, right? Why they take these things? Because ultimately have a impact. Now say one fellow, if you're not taking any action, it will spread to others. Branch need to close. So all have, remember, outcomes is closing one bank, one week, 2 weeks, huge loss to the bank. So health and safety, sometimes banks need to take care because of certain outcomes, maybe negative ones, or maybe sometimes maybe bad image, right? Then people, I mean the customers not willing to come to that branch. Why? They are not sure. They may get impacted because to the branch. Clear? So both sides we need to understand in the present condition. Now you can see how health and safety important, especially under these circumstances. That is why some people are asked to work from home because of look after your safety and health. Now that is why we have online lectures like that, because your safety and my safety. Okay, so you understand, no? Now HRS is one of the main function of the HR, and honestly, the importance of human health and safety pay more attention by the HR department or the management because of this COVID. Otherwise, they may not much consider this HNS is a very important area, but now because of the COVID and pay attention of the HR department of the organization to be considered little more than that. Apart from that, you have a fire extinguishers, lift facilities, and all are there. But now more attention in here, HNS, right? Okay. Now having understood, now all things happen. What happened? Occupational cases, low quality of work, dissatisfaction, all outcome, low efficiency, ineffective, stress comings, low productivity. Those are the results because of all these issues, right? So therefore, maintaining human resource important. Okay, now 2015, question number 1. Can anybody answer to this one? 2 marks. I need a response from you, right? Okay, please. What's the correct answer? Can anybody tell me which one of the following? This is March 2015 question, right? 2 marks. Now we have learned which one of the following can be used by an institution to identify the real training needs of the new employee. What's the answer? We have discussed in another name. What's maybe the answer? Suppose the questions come, now you have learned training and development, competency gap analysis, you learn everything. Now, what if the questions come, what the answer you are going to give? Then only I realize you have understood the theory. What is the correct answer? Huh? Can anybody tell me what's the correct answer? සද්ද නෑනේ. Oh, 45 35ට බෑ. 50 අඩු වෙලා ගිහිල්ලා. Right. Okay, don't worry. So now what be the correct answer? Abhishek? Then Kavi is usually B. What's the B? Okay. දෙන්නයිනි තාම මදිනේ. චතුමිනි සසංගි කතා කරන්න අකමැති නම් chat එකක් දාන්න. Right? Devandia, Shanali, Angelika. Okay. Right. What may be the correct answer? Oh. So you the answer. Now we are asking training needs, right? The answers given is not correct. You have to re-look at the answer. Now, okay, we go back again. Okay. Now I think so. I'm rather upset. Right. I'm rather upset, honestly. Right. Okay. Now, what is this? I discussed with you. Person needs some sort of a competency in order to perform the job. Why we need to give this for training to fill this gap, right? And this is the gap. Okay, this is the one. Right. Through training and development, you try to fill this gap, and then it's called competency gap analysis. Now, only thing the examiner has done it, they changed the word, not the competency gap analysis. Rather than gap analysis, what he used the word? සමහර අය මැච් කරනවා. සමහර අය මොකද කරන්නේ? මැප් කරනවා. Same as competency gap analysis. හරිද? Okay, now you have to reverse your answer. Now you have given to, okay, right? You have given to third umpire. Answer was given to third umpire. Now you have to change your decision. Now, what is the correct decision? Don't worry. Don't worry. What is the correct answer? Now you can think, really look at it. Now, what is the question is talking about? The question is basically question is, come on, right? Which one of the following can be used by an institution to identify the real training needs of the new employee? Because he have identified certain competency gapping, so you need to fill that competence. So that is competency mapping. Why you said job evaluation? Now, job evaluation means, remember, determining the worth of the job, right? Determining the worth of the job to decide the salary. Now, the training needs always talk about competency, remember, right? Competency. Only thing is, here we without having the competency gap analysis, we call competency mapping, right? So through the training analysis, what we are trying to do, we are trying to map their competency. Okay, so don't worry, right? Okay, don't worry, right? But at least you are courtesy or gut enough to give me an answer, right? Now the people who send the B answer, it should be what the answer then? A. හරිද තේරුණාද? Okay, clear? හරිද තේරුණාද දරුවෝ? නැද්ද? Okay, right? හරි නේද? Right, okay. Right. That තේරුණා නේද? So you have to be, don't get take immediate decisions, right? So think the thing what we have learned, right? Okay, right. Hopefully you have not do the mistakes again. So the competency mean හැමතිස්සෙම මම කිව්වා what is that? What is the competency mean? Knowledge, attitudes, attributes, skills. Now how your competency is developed? Through training and develop. Why you need to develop? Because management has identified there is a gap in your competency. That is why we give training needs, right? The new recruitment person, so they have identified there's a gap in the competence. First, you need to understand what you mean by a competence. Competency means knowledge, attitude, skills, and things. The new guy may not have that competency. Therefore, we must give that competency. How you give? Identify their training needs. What we are trying to do, we map the requirement by through training. Okay, right. Doesn't matter. So in the next, you try to give the correct answer. Right? Okay. So don't worry. Next. Okay, we are now moving to, we have another 20 minutes more. So now we moving to the, now from next week, right? So we are going to start type of clients, type of clients. So next week, we are going to cover entire human resource management part of the syllabus, right? So while we are learning, we try to learn questions. As I promise you, I try to give you a all promise in the time for it to be try to give you questions available in the last 10 or 11 years about this human resource management area, right? So last part of the syllabus, right? So we have 20 minutes more. I will explain the last part. Not, I don't know whether we can cover. Importantly, now we discuss lot of things. No, we while you are working, we need to provide training to you. We need to evaluate your performance. We need to evaluate your salary of your job, and then we need to look after your safety and health, and just so many things we look at it and discuss. And also now we want to look at it whether you are properly behaving in the organization, right? Now that is what you call employee discipline management. So when you go to the bank, you have to behave in a such a way, right? So there is a procedure and code of establishment, how to behave, how to dress, and things like that. Now, what is discipline management is a systematic process of controlling and influencing employees in the organization to achieve organization goals and objectives. Remember, every time, every function, expectation is what? Achieve organization goals and objectives. How the discipline facilitate achievement of organization's goals and objective? By put you into the correct track, right? It involves, therefore, the regulations of employees' behavior in compliance with established rules in order to achieve desired goals of the organization. So every organization must have a clean discipline management manual. I think the moment you join the bank, they will give you a code of discipline or code of conduct or whatever. And also remember, this is the one you are given in the induction program as well, training, right? So you're given a guideline how to behave, how to address, and how to wear, and all sort of things, right? Okay, so why uh, discipline is important? Main purpose in discipline management is to ensure that employees conform to norms and standards and behavior of the organization through the goal. Now people are telling we don't have a discipline. It's correct, no? ඇත්තනේ අපි දැන් යන්නකෝ පාරකට වාහනේ ලෝගෙන යන්නකෝ ඩිසිප්ලින් එකක් තියනවාද අපි පොඩ්ඩක් නැවතුනොත් ඒවා හෝන් ගහලා ඉවරයි හෝන් සද්දෙට අර නැවතුන එන්ජින් ස්ටාර්ට් කරගන්න නේද පොඩ්ඩක් අටක් එහෙන් දැම්මා දෙපාරක් බැලුවා යන්න නැත්නම් දැම්මා එහෙන් දැම්මා මෙහෙන් දැම්මා පාරේ අස්තින් පයින්නවා අපිට ඩිසිප්ලින් එකක් තියනවාද නෑ. So when you go නැත්නම් පාරෙන් පයින්නවා, right? When you go for one way, some other countries, some developed countries, so good, especially for Australia, uh, very much have a discipline. So how they drive the car? පාරේ පයින්නවා නම් මීටර් 25ක විතර දුරින් නවත්තනවා වාහනේ පයින්නේ කියලා. ක්‍රොසින් එකක් තියෙනවා නම් ඉන්නේ ඈත නවත්තන්න. They adhere to the rules and regulation. So they show the discipline of the people. Now there are instances maybe look at the discipline, but you see now recently you noted that in the parliament's complex of the senate's complex, a lot of people are entered, but කොහොමද අපේ එකට ආනව කාලා පොතට නාලා මුටි කාලා කඩාගෙන යන්න වෙන්නේ. But they still they behave, the police are behave in a such a way and not try to disturb everybody. But අඩුම බලය තමයි භාවිත. කොහොමද අපේ එකට යන්නේ කියන 50 විතර මැරලා තියෙනවා නේද? Right? So that's the discipline. Right? That's sort of a discipline. In organization especially, we need to make the definition. Right? So that is sometimes when you call the schools, like, well, one is called the GA. We say, Mama Gyar X school. That we think you are a disciplined boy. If you go to that school, like that, right? So the discipline play an important role. In a workplace, it play an important role, right? And it will build up the morale of the employees as well as the industrial peace. Right, so these are some of the advantages. There are some discipline is a very essential for healthy industrial atmosphere. Right, if you're losing the discipline, so we have a lot of problems will come up. Right, so the proper employee discipline will lead to absence of disorders, irregularities of employees' behavior. So that's the important thing, right? So importance of discipline, and it has to promote self-discipline, right? So through the discipline management, basically expecting for develop the individual self-discipline. Now you see what is discipline management, why it is important, right? Okay, sometimes it is not in your handout, but don't worry. Now there are type of discipline. Now two type of discipline you identify. One is, what is that? I just briefly explained, right? Preventive discipline or proactive measure or corrective or reactive measure. There are two type of discipline. If you want, just put down, not all, right? Just put down two type of discipline. I incorporate later on. Preventive, positive or constructive or proactive. Before something happened, what are the things? Now, employees are encouraged to maintain self-discipline. That is why the moment you join the bank, they give you some code of conduct. Management is responsible to create the atmosphere for the employees to maintain self-discipline. Also, it is a duty of management to create the environment, have a discipline culture. Right? And how can they do? Through induction, they inform you, education through employees or rules, regulation. That is why they give you a small booklet, right? And it's create a self-discipline. That is proactive. That is why induction, you have that constructive discipline action. So sometimes then the corrective or punitive, that means if you violate this discipline, so the management will take certain disciplinary actions against you, some punishment. First, maybe warning, right? Maybe verbal warning. Maybe I will tell you the disciplinary procedure and maybe give this thing. And there's in HR, in the HR, in discipline management, there is something concept called, for just for your understanding purposes, hot stove theory. Hot stove theory, right? Hot stove theory. Hot stove කියන්නේ සිංහලෙන් කියන්නේ රත්තු උදුන න්‍යාය. මොකද්ද? රත්තු උදුන. Hot stove theory is that. මේ ඔන්න මම ඉතින් ලේසි තේරුම් ගන්න කියන්නම්කො මොකද්ද මේ රත්තු උදුන න්‍යාය. ඒ කියන්නේ discipline is applicable to everybody the same manner. Right? I will explain to you hot stove theory after this. Right? After this. Remember, I will explain to you what is hot stove theory. Ek single again, rat u uduna nyaya. Right? Rat u uduna nyaya ne mere kohakat neme discipline management. Right? Now, you noted that there are basically two types of offenses any employee can do. Two types of offenses. Those are we call serious and non-serious. Sulu visamachara saha barapatala visamachara. Barapatala visamachara. Employee can do serious offense and non-serious offense. Now, I'll tell you an example. Now, I tell you, these are very good for you to learn, right? Now, you are coming to office late. You are come to office, your bank is started at 8 o'clock, but you are used to come at 8:05, 8:10. It's become your habitual action. Now, every time you are coming late, but sometimes you occasionally come little late. But it is not a serious offense. But remember, coming late anyhow is a offense, right? Because you are not supposed to come late, right? You are supposed to come 8 o'clock. But some days you come 8:10, 8:15, like that. Okay, right? But still remember, it is an offense. Why? You're supposed to be there at 8 o'clock. But it is not a serious offense. But think about you're coming every day late, then it's become serious offense. Right? Remember, it is a serious offense. Now, okay, while you're working, the other next guy, that girl, he's tell you something. May patin no Sunila arapatin no Sukumala. Sukumala monohari kiwama Sunila ta kenti gya. Sunila gya Sukumala gen konding adagata. Gagine gya. What do you think? My goodness. It is a serious offense, right? You can't do things like that while you're working. Actually, on the boss, manager comes to you and tell Sukumala, Sukumala, so you have to do things like and finish and go. Sukumala, banagina, manage it. Can you do that? It is a serious offense. That is what you call insubordinations, right? So there are some areas you need to understand. There are some serious. Now, say for an example, there is a security guy, night watcher. He is sleeping while you are working. It is a serious offense. Remember, it is a serious offense. Security person, night watcher cannot be asleep. It's a serious offense. Like that, the bank has identified what are the serious offenses, what are the non-serious offenses. The punishment may be very severe. Now, this is a serious. You have to be put it the other way, right? This is it should be this non-serious here, right? Serious comes down. We have to change it, Putta, right? This word I forget. Sorry. So demotion and dismissal comes under serious, right? And non-serious here. So you have to change these words, right? Non-serious here, serious here, right? Demotion and dismissal. So the serious activity, right? I think you understood what you mean by serious offense and non-serious offense. Right? The punishment is varying. Okay, right. Now I discussed to you earlier. What do you mean by red hot stove? No? I'll just try to explain. So what do you mean by red hot stove? And the red stove, that means ratu udunaniyai. Now that theory is still like this. The ratu udunak theory. Uduna rattela. Then oya atadano. The hitana mama AGM. Mama AGM. Hitamoko mama AGM. Right? Oya banking assistant. Right? Mama atadano. Mama have a AGM. Magi ata picture no. Magi ata picture no. Huh? Picture no නේද? එතකොට ඔයා දානවා අත. ඔයා පොඩි එකා AGM. ඔයා banking assistant. දැන් ඔයාගේ අත පිච්චෙන්නේ නැද්ද පොඩි වුණාට? මම ලොකු වුණත් පිච්චෙනවා. ඔයා පොඩි වුණත් පිච්චෙනවා. Right? Right. ඔන්න එකක්. එතකොට උදුන රත් වෙලා තියෙන ප්‍රමාණය අනුව අත පිච්චෙන ප්‍රමාණයත් වෙනස් වෙනවා. දැන් ඔත්තට රත් වෙලා තියෙන උතුරට අත දාපුවම පිච්චෙන ප්‍රමාණය වැඩි. පොඩ්ඩක් රත් වෙලා තියෙනවා අත දැම්මට පිච්චෙන ප්‍රමාණය අඩු. That is the concept of the hot red dot store, right? The red dot store theory in discipline management is talking about irrespective of the position, irrespective of the position, irrespective of your grade, the offense is and the punishment remains same, right? රත් වෙලා තිබ්බම ඒ කියන්නේ වැරද්ද වැඩි නම් සීරියස් නම් පිච්චෙන ප්‍රමාණය වැඩි දඩුවමත් වැඩි, right? එනවා නේද? ඔයා දැම්මත් පිච්චෙනවා මන් දැම්මත් පිච්චෙනවා. So that means the disciplinary action is everybody is the same. That is what you call red hot stove theory. I think you understood, but not necessary for you to learn. But I try to explain you what you mean by red hot stove, right? Nitiya rate හැමෝටම එකම නීතිය. ඒවා ගැන කතා කරමු. Right. So what is misconduct mean? Basically, misconduct mean is offense, act in indisciplinary manner, right? As in going against the accepted norms, behavior rules, violations of discipline, misconduct. Right, you are supposed to behave in such a way in organization as per the code of conduct. If you are not behaving in such a way, you think it's a misconduct or maybe visamachar, offense, right? Not behave, right? It can be expressed or implied, right? Right. Okay. Right. What are the major and minor misconduct? We call minor misconduct, as we explained to you, which are not serious nature. So you can take actions on them. Absent from place of work without permission, minor misconduct, but still is a misconduct. Remember, right? Is a minor. Now, what are the major misconduct? As I told you, major offenses, serious nature of punishment. Say abuse of power, authority, personal gain, insubordinates. Right? Remember, all are we call serious misconduct or serious offense, whatever you name it, right? Okay, so now we come to a exactly little less than 3 o'clock. So the next part, the process of delivery process, the labor relationship, then so some sort of collective bargaining, and then grievances, right? And we are going to discuss next week, and most probably okay, we can start we can start the type of clients most probably next week, right? Type of clients. Okay, so okay, now understood today. Okay, clear there? Right? අවිනිශ්සා අවිහිංසා මේ අවිහිංසා කියන නම කියනවා ඉස්සෙල්ලාම තීහිනි දැන්නේ අනිත් අය තරහ වේද දන්නේ. Okay, Mathura, clear? Kiran, Sandanika, yes. Diniti, how about Diniti? Okay, right, Diniti? Right, Shambhagaradhan, Chatumuni, Sasangi. Right, okay. So I hope you understood. And then, so I will send you a new tunes next week. So we will continue with the balance stuff, and we may go for type of clients. So we are going to finish HR next week. Okay, right. So see you on next Sunday, and we will discuss the other. Thank you.